up talking about Enlil. Okay, so this is showing you impressions of the cylinder seal of Ensi, of Ixusin, which is Ninursin's other name, right? The seated figure is probably King Namu, right? Which is actually Fire King Namu, which is actually Nanu, which is Ninursin. But they changed in the spelling and the pronunciation of the name to confusion. Right? Watch what they say he did. Bestowing the governorship, scroll down, of Hashemer.
I got you.
Who is led before him by Lama, protective goddess. Now the Lamas are monks in the Far East. All right, now look what it says. Seeing Nana himself is indicated in the form of a crescent. Right? Now look at it say, other names. Remember, Baba says Zuin had what? Yeah. What did he have?
I don't remember.
Zuin stole what?
The tablets.
The scrolls of destiny, remember?
Yeah, the tablets. Yeah, go ahead.
Right here is where they giving it up at. Okay, so his symbol is a crescent moon and the bull's horns.
Yeah.
Right? That means that his crescent moon is flipped. It's not on his side, left or right. Right? So now we talking about a crescent on the top or the bottom. Now, this is the same God who became Allah to replace Allah. Right? Let's go to the next page. Now look, it say Nana Sin or Zuin, right? Inzu, pronounced Suin in the Aramaic. See, all this is what Baba said. It's just right here in the public domain for anybody to go look it up. And say was the god of the moon in the Mesopotamian religions of Sumer, Akkad, Assyria, Babylonia, and Aram. He was also associated with cattle, perhaps due to the perceived similarity between bull horns and the crescent moon. He was always described as a major deity, though only a few sources, mostly these from the reign of Nabonidus, considered him to be the head of the Mesopotamian pantheon. Right? Now, the reason he can't be the head is because of his father, which we about to start getting into now. Right? Now, so look what this say. In Nugi mean the sheriff. Remember, we came up with the Tensekidar.
Yeah, right.
So this was the one tasked with taking over the sheriff's departments and replacing them with police. Right? But I see what it say, the brother of, that's all it's talking about seeing. This is the second page. Then they tell you his daughter's name, right? And who they married to. Right? Go to the next page. The next page might be the one before this. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. See where it say Enlil's sons, Ninurtu? Yeah. Ninurtu born on Nibiru, right? His mother was Dinastag. Enlil's royal heir due to the double seed rule. What's the double seed rule? Do you know?
No.
The double seed rule is when you get the matriarchal and the patriarchal rulership rights. You get the inheritance of the mother to support the throne and rulership from the father to enforce the protection. All right. Then you get, see where it say Nanarsin? Right there. Born on earth to mother Ninlil, right? So now it's telling you their first son, right? Iskar, a dad. Remember, boy, a dad? Born on earth, same mother, the second son. Right? Now look, the river warden, the sheriff, is telling you who's usurping what.
Yeah, you're right. Right here. The brother.
Right? Because what is a warden?
A warden, like a ward of the state, like ward of the state or warden over a jail, overseer over a jail.
The warden is the one who handles the ward of the state.
Governor. The governor, pretty much, is a warden.
The warden is the one that oversees the wards of the state.
Okay.
The sheriff is the one bringing them in.
Yep. Damn, this is, man, bro. I couldn't find this shit for nowhere. I couldn't find like this the bloodline like this. You found
okay,
this?
go to the next one.
It's some good shit, man. Go ahead. All right.
Okay, Eker, Enlil's temple residence in Nippur. Now you can look them cities up separate and you can get more detailed into this shit. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Now it's a Igla Gasina, Enlil's temple residence in Der Enlil. That means the city of Enlil. Right? And then you got Eadad, which is the temple of Enlil. Scroll down. Let's see what else you got.
We got him.
Right?
Niggas, man.
Edu. They knew who I was. I didn't.
Yo, let's talk about how you was talking about that amnesia. They still do it in the, well, not anymore, not as much. But I remember like in the 90s, early 2000s, where they used to have them little broadcasts where it made you sit through like 30, 45 seconds, almost a minute of the colors changing and the loud sounds. Was that make you forget certain things?
That's not necessarily amnesia. Sometimes that's to stimulate the same part of your psyche that the psychotropics stimulate. The peyote and the mushrooms, psilocybins, those color patterns, they call them psychedelic color patterns.
Right.
Right. So they mimic having the psychic trip without the psychic trip. And then if you put them under the strobing lights, and that's to stimulate the visual cortex as if you was having a psychic psilocybin or toadstool peyote trip. So sometimes they infuse them with a frequency of energy to directly contact your higher self, telling you, hey, soldier, we need you to wake up, but we can't tell nobody. Your subconscious already know. Your higher self already know what the message means. Right? And it had to wait for you to get the message. Your conscious mind don't, it's like, what the fuck going on? What's and then your subconscious is about to take over and he don't know it. They call that being possessed. You being possessed by yourself. That's your Zumbe. But they make you think that it's the undead, the zombie, the motherfucker that came back from the dead. Your higher self coming through your lower self is actually resurrecting you from a state of death to a state of life, from a straw man to an actualized being.
Yeah,
that's the metaphysics of it all.
Yeah, that connects on multiple levels. Even from studying the laws that I'm studying, it makes sense. It's like a rebirth on multiple levels.
Yeah, so everything they did, they weaponized against us, but we just fortunate enough to have enough of us around to work together in secret to overcome the obstacle in the open. We had to follow them secret squirrel motherfuckers around with pooper scoopers and examine their shit.
Yeah, your analogies get me every time.
Hey, that helps motherfuckers learn faster too. Make that shit stick.
Huh?
That makes sure motherfucker learn fast to make that shit stick like Velcro.
I just was telling somebody, I said, if you give somebody some analogies, you can, because we was just talking about debates. I said, the best way to win a debate is if you can make an analogy to where they understand it, because then they'll start to be like, you know what, you're right about that. Because you make them feel it. Get them to laugh and get them to make it real to them, then you can kind of take over that.
Right, because you're involved in more parts of the psyche than just one.
Right.
The best teaching method involves the most of your senses. Right. So when you incorporate multiple learning styles into a teaching method, then it can reach more people effectively.
That's real. Okay, so there's a couple. I'm gonna sprinkle some of these questions in here because they drop them in here. Young Key 333 said, "I find a lot of feathers on the ground randomly. What does that mean?"
Your spirit messages. Look up the feathers and the feather colors. Whatever in the collective consciousness is the meaning of it. You look at the colors, like blue jay feathers. Is you might be about to win a court case.
Justice.
Yeah. A cardinal feather, message from the other side. You get a
spiritual realm, right?
yeah. So when you start collecting your feathers, you start being able to read them for what they are. You start being there. It's like reading a book. You will receive a series of feathers with different patterns and colors for you to read. Then you know what the spirit message is from the Great Spirit.
That's fine. Okay, here we go. Somebody says, is it a meaning to be born with a purple tint?
Okay, that's not uncommon for us. Remember, we wasn't always copper and iron based. We used to be copper and magnesium based. And we used to process platinum group metals instead of soft metals. The DNA program was synced to the soft metals to process, which causes the negative side effects, right? But the coloring pigmentation is altered. The melanin interacting in the keratin in the skin, causing the brown color, is the rusting of the iron, right? When you was magnesium and copper, the oxide, magnesium oxide, copper oxide pigmentation is green. And your blood looked like chlorophyll.
Mm-hmm. And that's gonna bring me to one point. The movie Avatar, the first one. You know, they're getting ready to drop the second one.
Right, with the blue people.
With the blue. And I'm of the mind that was basically a documentary of us, of our
people. It is.
Wars, was it not? Because you at the end of it, you saw how they brought everybody, all the tribes from all over to come fight.
Yeah.
Right. So, but my biggest takeaway was in that movie. There was multiple takeaways, but one was getting us away from that center point of energy, that big tree.
Iwas. That tree was called Iwas in the movie.
Iwas, yes. Getting us
go back to Egypt and find out who Iwas was. Go back to Crowley.
Okay. Oh yeah. Before I forget, Carol Barn. What was that book? So I can type that in there and tell people to check that out too.
Melanin: Chemical Keys to Black Greatness by Dr. Carol Byrne.
Chemical Keys to Black Greatness. Somebody drop that in there for me, and I'll pin it. But yeah, so yeah, that tree that always stuck out with me. So much so to the point that I've done research, like try to find a map and try to identify where that tree was, because in that they made a direct emphasis.
I can tell you where it was at. It was in South Africa.
South Africa.
That's why there's hardly any trees left over there. They cut them down first. It was not far from where Credo Mutwa lives. It was called the Great Tree of Life. You could upload and download your consciousness. Really what it would do, if you was born in the 3D and you touch the tree will read your DNA and feed back the information to your conscious mind, where you can understand who you was in past lives. That's what they was doing in the movie.
It was like our CASHAPP records.
Yeah. But when they cut the tree down, we have what you call the energy signature of the tree, a phantom tree.
Like a phantom limb.
Yeah. The tree's still present. But now it's dissipated energy in the atmosphere, and we have to read it from a telepathic perspective with the earth. Right?
That's
when you start reliving that shit. And that's not the good part. That's not the good part. Because when you realize that some of the decisions you had to make for the betterment of the whole looked very horrible at the time you was making them, and nobody wouldn't understand it unless they seen the outcome today. The only way you would understand it. So that's why in Operation Looking Glass, they can't escape the singularity. Right? The same with Nostradamus and the psychics, they can't escape the singularity. Everything converged here and now. So when the Christians say everything working together for the greatest good, this is what they're talking about. No, the good shit and the bad shit. The right shit and the wrong shit. Use all that shit in order to clean up the dirt.
Facts. Yeah, because I'm man, I already feel it's time. So much so I keep telling people it's time. And it almost becomes harder and harder for me to even like engage in the daily, their system at all. Like every day it gets harder and harder. I've never been one to work a job. I always knew I was going to, be running my own thing. That was just the mindset I had since a kid. But just to see the system like really crumbling around us, but you see the distractions are only getting stronger and stronger. They're trying to pull out as many stops as they can. Can you talk on that a little bit?
Well, they're going to always send some low-rank, low-level, poorly educated imbeciles to confront you, right? And it's because it's your responsibility in your God form, recognizing who you is, to let them motherfuckers say what they want to say and continue doing what the fuck you was going to do, right? I'm on here giving away free information on a motherfucking university level or higher.
Nah.
And motherfuckers want to find reasons to tear me down. I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna keep giving this information out, and if you got a problem with it, you got a right to have a problem with it, and I have a right to not give a fuck. So right. I already know it come with the territory. You're gonna be falsely accused. You're gonna be slandered. You're gonna be talked about. You're gonna be called names. You're gonna be the outcast. Because everybody going to be mad because you the one that did it. They wanted to be the one to do the stuff that you did, but they didn't have the ambition that you had. So expect all that. This is what my mama told me. She said, expect all that. Because in the Bible, they talked about Jesus. So if they talk about Jesus, what make you think they're not going to talk about you? Right? Because they believe that Jesus to be their God.
Right.
So if they're going to abuse their own God, what much fuck you make them going to think about our gods? They don't give a fuck about us. Right? So the ones of us who know who we are, as DMX say, recognize that they don't know who we be. But real recognize real, and we know who look familiar.
Right.
Right? And they say, yeah, as I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. You ain't catch Jay, did you? And yay, as I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil.
Damn.
Right? Why? Because Rod and his staff is on the job. They done fucked up now.
Damn. See, that's that connection that I'm talking about.
See, all the time they thinking that the rod and the staff is the crook and the flail, but the rod is a man and the staff is the support system.
Yea, though I walk through the valley. Oh my.
And again, I say yea is right.
Thanks.
So we're gonna take our yays and we're gonna put down their nays. That's what we're gonna do.
Right.
Override their authority. From a superior position of right, telling the truth, challenging their bullshit in front of their face, not behind their back. We ain't covering nothing up. We ain't running. We ain't ducking, and we ain't hiding. Motherfucker, we just telling you how it's gonna be as we lay down the law on the land, air, and the motherfucking water.
Right on,
to
bro.
restore the sisters back to righteousness. Bring this motherfucker back to paradise and get you parasites the fuck out the way, one way or another motherfucking another.
Seal. Yes, sir. That's real.
That's why I say Kyrie Irving said what he needed to say. See, y'all be taking everything and y'all don't realize that sometimes you got to move back in chess in order to go forward.
You don't see it like that though. Right in the moment, you're not seeing the bigger picture unless you're literally on that level. Like,
because everybody got to see the after the fact. Hindsight is 20/20.
Mm-hmm.
Foresight is myopic. It's short. You can't see very far in front of you. So you have to look back in order to see forward. That's the only way to see further.
Right.
Because ain't nothing new under the sun.
Kyrie has been dropping for the couple years, really just kind of putting info out there about us being the
Carol Burns is spelled Barnes.
BAR.
Barnes.
Okay, good.
Kelly wrote Burns.
But yeah, like, and it's kind of ironic. Like, I just remember now we have somebody out here kind of. We've had people in the past, but we've never had somebody who's had the type of influence that Ye has. I mean, we've had even an NBA player in the past called him out on the Sharif Muhammad, I think, and he got kicked out. He was like dropping 20 points. But,
remember Craig Hodges?
Craig Hodges, that's him. That's what I'm talking about. But he changed his name. Remember?
Yeah.
Yeah, to his Muslim name. I can't remember what it was right now, but yeah.
Then you had the other brother, Raul